TopMedTalk.
This is TopMedTalk, the broadcasting arm of EBPOM, Evidence Based Perioperative Medicine. The EBPOM World Congress is taking place this year between the 7th and the 9th of July at the British Library in London. Check out ebpom.org now.
Hello, welcome to TopMedTalk. I'm Andy Cumpstey and I'm here in Rotterdam at Euroanaesthesia, which is the annual meeting of the European Society of Anaesthesiologists in Intensive Care. And I'm delighted to be joined by my co-host, Kate Leslie.
Hi Andy, how are you going?
Good. It's been a really interesting meeting. We've had lots of fantastic scientific presentations. I think over 140 scientific talks here over the 3 days, over 1,000 poster presentations. But the social programme's been pretty good too, hasn't it?
It has. There was a terrific reception, and then there was also a wonderful dinner on the SS Rotterdam, which is a bit of a Titanic kind of cruise liner thing that's docked in the Rotterdam harbour.
It definitely had Titanic vibes about it. I've never had a dinner in a place like that before. It was very special.
Yeah, it was. But I think our special guest was probably partying at the ESAIC reception. Joana, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So, Joana Berger,
Yes.
tell us about your current roles at work and also in ESAIC.
Okay. My name is Joana Berger-Estilita. I'm an anaesthetist working in Switzerland, but I'm heavily involved with the ESAIC. I'm currently the chair of education and training, and I've been one of the people behind the launch of this new initiative that we're launching this year, which is the leadership program.
So you're the leader of that, but you're working with an incredible team, I believe.
Yes, this is something that you can't do on your own. It's been an idea that has had a few, around 2 years. We've been thinking about doing this, and it was important that we had anaesthetists on board, and we have obviously our current president, Professor Edith Marmot, and our past chair of the sustainability, Dr. Patrizio Pizarro. But it was important to also include people that are not necessarily anaesthetists. So we've had the huge help and collaboration of two of our staff members of the ESAIC headquarters, our CEO, Kathy Vinance, and Rafaela Donadillo, who is basically our head of staff, and she does everything for us. She's a great person, very dynamic.
And so 2 years ago, the idea was formed. And then how did you go about building the leadership program and all its elements?
Well, we started looking at what was out there, and we saw that there was a major gap. We think about all the things that we offer as a society, particularly for younger clinicians or even trainees, and there's a lot of offer. We do not have so much for people that are on a career, on a stage of their career that they want to progress further. So that was one thing that we wanted to tackle, is this gap, that there was nothing or less offer for seasoned anaesthetists. And we also looked at what was happening in anesthesiology around the world, and the fact is, not many societies have leadership programs, and the ones that do have a very simplified thing, which is obviously not enough. So that's where it all started. It was a long process, took a lot of iteration. We discussed what the content should be, but eventually we ended up with a solution that is ready to go.
It's interesting you say that, because our college in Australia has a leadership program, but it's for emerging leaders. And Andy, you were at that meeting.
I was,
this
yes.
year in Auckland, and we met some amazing people and learnt a lot, but I guess there's more you need later in your career as well.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a great event. And again, we've recorded a separate TopMedTalk episode about that event, which I'd encourage people to listen to with the conveners of that meeting. And the networking was certainly a big part of it. But I think you're right. I think that one-off event, we all came away so inspired and enthused, and we're going to go away and change the world. And I'm sure it won't be quite that simple, but you've got to somehow keep that enthusiasm going over a longer period of time, I think. So I'm really interested to hear what this program looks like in practice and how people get involved with it and what they could potentially get out of it.
Okay, so basically, this starts like a normal, let's call it normal leadership program. So we decided to have it in a retreat style, in a very experiential learning type of thing, so face-to-face. It's 2 prolonged weekends, one in December and one in March. So we are going to select 25 anesthesiologists that want to apply, and each of them will be given a mentor. And this is something that we really wanted to emphasize, because the mentorship is a significant part of what we think is relevant. There are 5 mentors. One of them is Professor Edith Matot. We have Professor Isabel Marcolino from Switzerland. We have Professor Francisco Maio Matos from Portugal. We have Professor Daniela Ionesco from Romania. And we have Professor Cynthia Wong from the US. So all of these people, they have such different backgrounds, and I feel that that will enrich a lot the whole concept. So they will have these mentors, which they can contact during the period of training, but I think also during their lifetime, because this is something that is lifelong. But these people will help them sort issues that we're going to throw at them. So you're going to have a lot of cases that you have to sort. Yeah.
And so you mentioned 25 are going to be selected. Selected how and who's eligible to apply?
So we are looking for people that already have an experience in leadership. The criteria is at least 5 years after training and that have already some significant leadership role, like leading the trainees, or they're head of a subgroup, like a neuro group or a cardiac group, that have the potential to even grow as head of department. The whole concept came that how do we want our heads of departments to be in the future? So we have a lot of not so positive examples out there, and we want to go away from that and to give these people the tools to be a bit more open and a bit more horizontal in their leadership style.
And from any country in Europe, from any country around the world?
They have to be an ESAIC member. That's the only criteria.
It sounds excellent.
Yeah.
And who's going to fund it?
Well, it's going to be partly funded by the industry and also by the society.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Just go to leadershipprogram@esaic.org and find out where the link is. There is also a QR code. You have to apply directly on the website. There will be a request for a motivation letter. And the group will pre-select the people and assign them to their respective mentors.
Excellent. And then the first retreat is this coming December?
This coming December, 4th to 6th of December.
Are we allowed a sneak preview of where it's going to be?
Yeah, it's going to be in an abbey, an old abbey outside Brussels. It's going to be really a retreat.
But I think you'll need to bring your puffy jackets and stuff, won't you?
Yeah, because there will be outside activities, and there will also be... one thing that is important in the leadership is you get a lot of information about how you lead, but then it's sort of like a lonely thing to do in the end. You're a leader, you're the head of department, you don't have a lot of people to communicate with. And it's also important that you learn a bit about self-care. So there's also going to be some yoga classes, some Flemish cafe, so for people to probably some karaoke, so that people relax also a bit.
Sounds excellent.
Yeah.
And then I presume all of the people selected will be invited or expected perhaps to attend ESAIC next year, Euroanaesthesia?
They're at the ESAIC in Copenhagen in 2027. There will be an award ceremony and let's say a wrap-up of the first cohort, because then we will select the second cohort and collect feedback. So
do you want to give our listeners a little bit of a early advert for that meeting and where it's going to be and when it's going to be, and encourage them to come to what's been a fantastic few days here, but I'm already looking forward to next year. So next year in Copenhagen, in June. Don't ask me to tell you the dates exactly, because I don't know. I was looking at the poster yesterday. I could be wrong, and I'll be corrected on this later, but I think it's the end of May, so the 29th to the 31st of May, something like that. That's great. Copenhagen at that time is just really great. Yeah. So how's ESAIC going to measure success with this program and work out whether it's providing value for the members' money? Of course you would ask me that, right? We are doing this as a pilot project. Mm-hmm. So the success, we won't be able to measure it in the first year. We're going to follow these cohorts hopefully for at least 5 to 10 years. Mm-hmm. And we expect these people to grow in a community and end up in important places and do the seeding process. So to spread this type of leadership across Europe. Is there a college of medical leadership or a society of medical administrators or something like that in Europe? I mean, in other places, there's a Royal College of Medical Administration in Australia, where people, usually clinicians, get a second fellowship in medical admin, and they have to do a master's.
So do people in Europe often do MBAs or other things?
They do. There's several leadership courses spread around Europe. You have several universities offering, including now with AI and with all this digital health. The fact is, after we've done a little bit of a market scope, there is very little that is specifically targeted at, and we're going to deal with topics like second victim, or dealing with suicide in your team, or dealing with drug abuse. And that is so specific to anesthesia that is sometimes difficult to find in the your usual leadership course. Of course, you will also learn what you expect about types of leadership and how to give feedback and how to deal with your budget. But there will be some specific aspects like talking to industry, for example, and getting to a yes from your CEO or from people below you. So leading from the middle. And that is something that I find that it's unique.
Well, it's very exciting, Andy.
It is. I've got one more question before we finish. But, I mean, you've both had very successful leadership roles. Have you both benefited from programs like this yourself, or is this completely, I know, Kate, you've been to the ELC we talked about in Australia and New Zealand.
Yes. I've done lots of leadership things over the years, short courses with the various organisations that I've been with, but I've also done a Masters of Health Services Management, which I must say was transformative. I don't think it may not have changed my leadership, but it changed my understanding of the various aspects of the health system, financing and HR and legal and all that sort of stuff. I think one of the main things in doing courses like this is we can talk the talk with the people who are not clinicians. So we're sharing a common language. It's a bit like going to a trauma call and knowing exactly what to say. When you go to the C-suite, all the words to use about Lean Six Sigma, blah, 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 all that stuff. Don't you agree, Joana?
Yeah, not feeling overwhelmed.
Correct, yes.
But one thing that I wanted to ask you, so if you've done all these leadership courses, what was for you the one thing that you think, okay, I did this one, it changed the way I see me or as a leader?
Oh, well, lots of these courses involve reflection upon your leadership style, and each course has a different cool kind of, categorization of your leadership style. And once you do a few of these, you get a better idea about what your personal style is and not so much what the benefits of that style are, but what the weaknesses and vulnerabilities of it. And you can just keep that in mind. When you feel your vulnerability being exposed, you can work out what to do, I think. What about you?
So one thing that we've discussed massively during the leadership course that I did was being authentic. Because obviously that's what people want from a leader, authenticity, but it's difficult to put into practice. What is authenticity? Sometimes you may have a bad day and you haven't slept and you're a bit grumpy, and that's also being authentic, right? So that kind of acceptance, and also the acceptance that people can come to you and tell you, look, today I didn't like what you said in this meeting. You as a leader, as a head of department, and you're able to listen to that without being overwhelmed with the criticism or your head thinking, oh, I'm being criticized. And so filtering that out and being able to breathe it out and say, okay, you're right, let me think about it, let me reflect. I think those kinds of skills are very important for a leader, because, another thing that we talk about immensely is loyalty, and being loyal to a leader and being loyal to a team. And being loyal sometimes means just telling the truth, not just following in a straight line.
Wow, this sounds like a really full-on course, Andy.
I was going to say, it sounds like a fantastic initiative. Wish you the best of success with it. And, I might be quite keen to stick my head in the ring and go, yeah, absolutely, I look forward to it. But you should come back and talk us through the successes, hopefully, in the future of how it's gone on the podcast again.
Yes, absolutely.
So thanks for joining us. Thank you for listening at home. As always, you can find this episode and all our other episodes. I think there's over 2,000 in the catalogue now on our website, topmedtalk.com. So do go back, have a look, search for whatever topic you're interested in. We'll have something on there, I'm sure. We should give a huge thank you to ESAIC for their generous hospitality here in Rotterdam. And of course, a thank you to our fantastic sponsors that keep us free and open access around the world. That's BD Advanced Patient Monitoring and GE Healthcare. And finally, but definitely not least, please do find us on social media. We're on all the main social websites. If you do find us on there, hit like, hit subscribe. It really does help us at this end. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
TopMedTalk.
TopMedTalk is the broadcasting arm of EBPOM, Evidence Based Perioperative Medicine. Join clinicians from around the world at EBPOM World Congress 2026 between the 7th and the 9th of July at the British Library in London. 3 days of evidence-based perioperative medicine, global insights and expert debate, featuring speakers including Michael Marmot and Ken Rockwood. Go now to ebpom.org. That's ebpom.org.